As evident all over America, poverty is a large and prominent issue. Yet few know the real definition. It could be
when you have to make choices between food, rent, or a car payment.
Or
those who do not have a sufficient amount of money or other resources.
Or
the outcome of the inequity between how society organizes itself and how resources are allocated within that society.
The truth is, poverty cannot be defined under such simple words as there is so much to it. As of 2017, 12,808,000 children are living in poverty. Many Americans are outraged that presidential candidates and politicians don't put enough focus on poverty, as it is an issue that continues to get worse and worse. About a third of the US population suffers from poverty, and yet nothing is being done to stop these inclining numbers. So, in 2020, we want to see presidential candidates focus more on supporting low-income communities through inexpensive healthcare and insurance plans to alleviate those in debt and improve the wellness of those in poverty. Candidates should also ensure more school funding and better resources such as newer technology, more educated staff, cleaner facilities, and safer environments. By educating and keeping these low-income neighborhoods healthier and cleaner, their newer generations will break the cycle of poverty. In low-income communities, health is a critical issue. People in these conditions don't have the time or money to go to these appointments and let alone get treated for them. Most stores with fresh products are forced to move out of poorer neighborhoods because the residents can't afford the high prices for fresh foods. Usually, all that is left is the fattier, less healthy options, such as fast food restaurants, which worsens their physical health through high blood pressure and cortisol levels. This, especially for younger people, can lead to brain damage and development. Living in poverty can also mean you have to eat less because you can't afford as much food. Not getting enough of the nutrients you need can lead to learning problems and will make your body weaker. The USDA estimated that 11.1% of US households were food insecure in 2018. This means that approximately 14.3 million households have difficulty providing enough food for all their family members due to a lack of resources. Many people have voiced their concern about poverty, and now, with the upcoming election, it's a perfect time for presidential candidates to take action. Through implementing cheaper insurance plans and healthcare, they can work to solve this issue. These insurance plans don't need to be the utmost level of help, but they should be at a lower price for those who need it. Already, Barack Obama created the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, which, although is flawed, can help these people with their healthcare.
Is it your next door neighbor? Is it your healthcare provider? Who are these 10 to 15 million people who are going to lose health insurance? We should sit down together, just like we did on 21st Century Cures. We should come up with a bill that fixes Obamacare.
Living in a low-income neighborhood decreases the likelihood of graduating high school.
Into quintiles. If you look from 2007 to 2016, the bottom 1/5 of U.S. zip codes, distressed communities, they have lost 1.3 million jobs on net over that almost 10-year period. There has been essentially no recovery from the Great Recession for the people who need it most. And then on the flip side of that, prosperous communities, the top 1/5 of zip codes, where people are already the best off on all sorts of socioeconomic indicators, they've seen a jobs bonanza of net 3.1 million jobs over that same period.
Low-income neighborhoods have worse schools and school resources because their funding is mostly from property taxes, and those locations have lower property value, which makes taxes less. Many students go straight into the workforce because they do not have the money for college, as they come from low-income communities and families. From there, they usually end up getting low-salary jobs and have difficulty supporting them and their family. This continues the cycle, where they then go on to have children who are forced to live in the same low-income communities and attend substandard schools.
It's hard to learn when you haven't had a meal. It's hard to learn when you don't have a roof over your head. It's hard. It's hard where you're sharing a house with 15 or 16 people, most of them not related to you.
They also have lower employment rates from living in poverty. The largest demographic of people who are poor are mostly single mothers who don't have the time to get a job. Many people in poverty have a very difficult time finding a high-paying job when they just have a high school diploma, as a higher level of education is essential for finding a well-paying job.
If people have good jobs, they can then move forward with buying housing or making ends meet and making sure that their children have the same good opportunities.
Raising the minimum wage for jobs would benefit everybody in the long run.
Part of the problem is $15 an hour doesn't necessarily make a living wage.
Although raising minimum wage may still not be enough for them, especially if they have a family, it is definitely a start in the right direction. If candidates were to address the need for more jobs, the topic of available jobs may be more heard about. Low-income communities are one of the most prevalent dilemmas in America today, especially with students. But supporting them through better education, making more sustainable jobs, and lowering the cost of medical care and insurance, the cycle of poverty can be broken. This, ultimately, is our better vision for 2020.